Mudavadi getting new roles in government. Gachagwa's office to remain at Harambee Avenue, but Mudavadi moved to Haile Selassie Avenue. President William Ruto reorganizing his government, placing the budget policy and economic affairs under his wing at State House in his first official act to reflect his vision for the next 5 years. Having run his campaign on the promise of economic revival and the uplifting of hustlers from the bottom of the pyramid, Ruto has created 3 new offices to steer his plan under his direct control and supervisions. These are the Office of the Fiscal Affairs and Budget Policy, Office of Economic Transformation, and the Council of Economic Advisors. Just a quick glance, the roles of Gachagua and Mudavadi spelled out. Regarding Gachagua, the President's order says will chair the cabinet committees, oversee the implementations of its decisions, coordinate the planning and supervise the implementation of development partner funded programs and projects, as well as oversee public sector reforms. The DP will also have 2 principal administrative secretaries under him, one in charge of administration and coordination and the other in charge of devolution and intergovernmental affairs. And by law, the DP is the chair of the Intergovernment Budget and Economic Council, that is IBEC, which provides a linkage between the national and county governments in terms of shareable revenue and related policies. Well, on the other hand, Musalia Mudavadi will chair the Principal Secretaries Committees and supervise the technical monitoring and evaluation of government policies, programs and projects, oversee their implementation, as well as chair and coordinate national government legislative agenda across all the ministries and departments. He will also be in charge of the newly elected Government Delivery Unit in charge of monitoring and documenting progress of implementation of the government projects. Now, with 2 public administrative secretaries under him, one, the parliamentary liaison in charge of legislative affairs, and the other in performance management and delivery services. He will be the implementation and legislative coordination wing, while Gachagua will have the supervisory and planning powers, both in conjunction with the president. But then again, you have the offices quite far apart. But I think this is sort of clearly cuts and spells out the roles of these 2 gentlemen. We agree on that, yeah? Okay, yep. Right. So we just move on. Just a quick adjacent report here. Nanok Koskei, the power man in Ruto's State House, a report by Onyango Onyango. You have the former Turkana governors, Joseph Nanok, and the former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, Felix Koskei, appearing primed for the top jobs of State House Controller and President William Ruto's Chief of Staff, respectively. But we're yet to know. We will be getting to know that in the future. And maybe just a quick final report here on the Daily Nation. Malaria deadlier for pregnant teens than adults. This is according to a study, and the study, the first to compare malaria burden in pregnant teens to that in pregnant adults. Research expectant mothers in 5 sub-Saharan Africa countries participated. A report there by Angela Okech. And Parliament has protected rights of women and girls. This is what the Senate Speaker Amason Kingi says. All right, let's take a look at Business Daily. This is what we have on the front page of the Business Daily. Students from rich families to pay more university fees. Now, students from rich families will have to pay more for their education in public universities in the latest push to ease a biting cash crunch in the institutions and cut the reluctance on the Treasury. The Universities Funding Board, the state agency that guides allocations of student funds to universities, is pushing for a cut on government funding for children of the rich at universities. Now, this review will also affect government-sponsored students in private universities who receive at least 70,000 shillings annually, depending on the course they're pursuing, irrespective of their income status. You're all young people. Perhaps you want to continue, with your education and get more. I mean, what do you make of this? That now the fact that students from rich families will have to pay more universities fees. Is it fair? Noordin, I'll start with you.
It can it can't be fair, of course, because they'll feel, it needs to be equal opportunities. Well, some will say that they are getting their courtesy of maybe they didn't have certain points, and as compared to those who are government sponsored. By the end of the day, when you separate people like that, what do you gain? Because you see, the university obviously wants to make a killing out of that. And most of the times, as they call them, parallel or something, that is the institution that actually runs the university. I really don't think it's fair, because at the end of the day, once you separate people like that, so is it a sin to be rich? or what is the problem at the end of the day. We need to look at how we run our universities moving forward and also audit them, because we tend to forget that they are public institutions, and those who actually oversee or are part of the leadership of the university should be accountable to the students and majorly Kenyans as, at large.